Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Tech Showdown. I'm not feeling too good, guys, so today it's just going to be a bit more of a relaxed B-roll video. But we got a very exciting laptop for you. It's the MSI GS63VR 7RF Stealth Pro, this thin, powerful 4K laptop. So let's jump into it then and talk about the exterior and the I/O. So exterior wise, we have the brushed aluminium that looks good. I really like it. I mean, this isn't original. We've seen it quite a few times now. It's been around for a while now, but I mean, it still looks good, so I'll give it that much. As far as the actual design goes, it's very slim, very sexy. I really like the look of it. I think maybe the lid was a little bit too thin because it's got quite a bit of flex there, but overall I think it looks really, really good, and with a weight of 1.9 kilograms, it's really solid in terms of being able to carry it around with you if you're taking it to work or taking it to uni or anything like that. It shouldn't be a worry at all. So overall, looks wise, I think it looks really good. Now there's no I/O on the front or the back. However, on the left hand side, we'll work front to back, say. You have the mic input, headphones, 3 USB 3.0 ports, a card reader, a LAN port, and a lock there. And then on the right hand side, working front to back, you have the power button, which is quite interesting they put on the side, a USB 2.0 port, a USB 3.1 Type-C, HDMI, DisplayPort, and your power input there. Now let's move over to the specs and see what this beast has inside of it. So as far as the CPU goes, it's coming with the i7-7700HQ. That is a 4-core or quad-core CPU with hyper-threading, so that means it has 8 threads, a 2.8 GHz base clock, a 3.8 GHz boost clock, and it's coming with a 45 watt TDP. Memory-wise, you're just getting 16 gigs of DDR4 memory, plenty there. GPU-wise, NVIDIA GeForce GTX1060 6GB. So that's a really solid mid-range CPU, GPU I should say, being the 6GB model as well. That's really good. Storage-wise, coming with a 256GB NVMe SSD plus a 2TB 7200 RPM SATA-based HDD for all your mass storage. So that's good. Very fast SSD there, and then you got the big HDD for all your mass storage stuff. Dimensions-wise, it's coming in at 380mm by 249mm by 17.7mm thin, so you can see they're very thin, and it has a 2-year warranty. Now let's move over to the screen then. So this is where it gets crazy. So it's coming with a 15.6-inch 3840 by 2160 IPS display, so it's a 4K display. And honestly, I'm a bit confused about this, and this isn't the first 4K laptop by any means, but in general, they just confuse me. I get it though. If you want to watch 4K movies or videos, it's obviously going to look fantastic. But on a 15.6-inch screen, you know, you have to run a lot of scaling there, which ruins all the screen real estate. So it's not really good in the sense of that you have all this extra room. It just doesn't make sense because the screen is so small. So you got to scale everything up. And for gaming, as you're going to see when we talk about it later, it's just not possible to game at 4K with these specs unless the game is very low demand. So I just really don't understand it. Maybe you guys can explain it to me in the comment section down below, but yeah, I don't really understand it. As far as the screen itself goes though, it's pretty good. The colors look nice, I saw minimal light bleed, and it does a good job. So yeah, the screen itself is good. I mean, it is an IPS display, so that's really nice to have, but I just don't really understand it. Now let's move over to the speakers. So it has two 2-watt speakers, and boy, do they suck big time. They don't go very loud at all, and the lack of bass is super jarring, especially if you like listening to like hip hop and rap music like I do. It's just, makes it sound so bad. I would highly recommend buying a good pair of headphones if you're going to be buying this laptop, that is for sure. Moving over to the keyboard, it has a SteelSeries keyboard, which is good. You know, it usually does a good job, and it's no different here. Yeah, very nice, good travel, nice lighting. I really do like it. The one criticism I would have with it is that layout-wise, it feels a bit compressed, which I don't think would be too bad after you got used to it, but just coming from a normal desktop keyboard, you do notice it a little bit that a lot of the keys are quite a bit smaller than on your average desktop keyboard. The touchpad has a nice size to it. It's got good sensitivity, clicks easily, and moving around's fine. There's no slippage or anything there, so the touchpad is very solid. Now let's move over to the performance then, because that's important. And we'll start off with Heaven. So this is Heaven 4.0, everything maxed out. So we see there at 1080p, 57 FPS, that's just fine. That's really solid, but we see it drops down quite a bit there when we go to 1440p and just 4K. There's just no chance. Then in 3D Mark, this is graphics test 1. We see it 1080p, again solid, 54, that's fine, but it just drops down heaps at 1440p and 4K. Now to an actual game, Dirt Rally. So at 1080p, 62.5. That's what we like to see there. Nice, just over 60. This is on Ultra, remember? And that's really, really good. But as we go to 1440p and 4K, there's just no real chance there, unless you don't mind maybe playing at 30 FPS. And then the last one I tested out was Deus Ex Mankind Divided. This was on the very high preset, and we see 39.7. I mean, this is a demanding game. And yeah, 1080p, it's having trouble. 1440p and 4K, there is absolutely no chance of anything happening there. So performance-wise, I would say as long as you stick to 1080p, you'll be fine. Maybe drop off the filters a little bit to keep it nice and smooth above 60 FPS. But above that, yeah, it's just, there's no point really. Now moving over to heat and noise. So heat-wise, when I ran Intel Extreme Tuning Utility, I did the CPU stress test there for 5 minutes, and it went up to 86 degrees Celsius. And that's fairly solid. I mean, it's getting pretty toasty, but for a thin and light gaming laptop, that's around normal. And then as far as the GPU goes, when I tested it in Unigine Valley on the Extreme HD preset, I saw it go up to 73 degrees Celsius, and that's just fine. So heat-wise, I would say it's a little bit toasty on the CPU, but nothing I haven't seen before. The GPU was obviously just fine, but the noise is the big problem. This thing gets really, really noisy. Now, I think it just might be this one I have being slightly defective or something, because it sounds so different. It actually sounds like an airplane engine when you're like inside the plane, like a 737 or whatever. But hey, I'll let you guys judge for yourself. So this is what it sounds like when you're running, let's say, Dirt Rally. Yeah, so as you guys can hear, it's not really where you'd like it to be. It's strange that it's only when that's sort of like only the GPU noise, whereas when, it's a CPU stress test, you don't get that same noise. So yeah, might just be something wrong there. If you have this laptop, let me know in the comment section down below if your one sounds like that, or what the noise sounds like to you when you're using it for gaming. Now let's move over to battery life. So it's not that good really. I mean, you'll get about 3.5 to 4 hours with average use. Maybe you'll be able to push it up to around 6 hours if you have super conservative settings. And if you're gaming on it, maybe you get 2 hours, probably less. So in terms of battery life, I would say it's only okay. Which brings us now to the conclusion. And what do I make of the MSI GS63VR 7RF? So it's a good looking laptop. It's slim, it's light for a gaming laptop, but I would treat it carefully as it feels a little bit flimsy, especially the lid, so definitely don't be slamming this guy down. The screen confuses me. It just confuses me. A 15.6 inch 4K display, it confuses me. But it does do a decent job, so I can't really complain too much about it as far as a 4K display goes. The sound quality is absolutely terrible though. It's just abysmal. Headphones are a must with this laptop. The keyboard is good and the touchpad is absolutely fantastic. It is solid 1080p performance, although I really wouldn't go above that unless it's a very low demand game. Then maybe you could bump it up to 1440p. Maybe you just get away with 4K, but yeah, for 1080p it should be just fine. Heat is on the higher end, but it's definitely nothing too excessive as far as these thin gaming laptops go, but the noise certainly is. That is just way too over the top. And overall, I would say it's a solid laptop. I would really think about the cons first though, really think them over and make sure that you're fine with them before you go in and buy this laptop. It still is solid, but there are 1080p screened counterparts that would cost you less, and I think would be the better buy in terms of my personal opinion. But let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think of this. I think it's okay, but as I said earlier, I don't really understand why these have 4K displays. Now, thank you all for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel, Tech Showdown, if you haven't already, and like the video, because that's always good. And I love that you guys support me. It's really, really, makes me want to keep doing these videos, because sometimes you can get a bit demotivated from doing, tech videos and stuff like that, and, doing YouTube in general. So having you guys support me really makes me want to keep on doing it. So I thank you all for that. And as always, I'll see you guys next time.